Mark Berridge, author and speaker, father of three wonderful children, husband of the amazing Lucy, his words, passionate about enabling others find possibility from their impossible moments, he's constantly doing his inner work. And the number one thing that resonates with me and Mark at this moment is our shared experience of living through adversity. For Mark, 7 weeks in hospital and a further 10 months of full-time focus on regaining his mobility. His healing continues. It's a long, lifelong journey for him. But Mark is hell-bent, despite the pain that life is putting him through, on taking the tougher course, which is to come out better, more positive, stronger, believing in the magic of the universe, where his easier route could just be become bitter, codependent, give up, call it self-care, depend on his family and his friends to take care of him for the rest of his life. It's in these moments when life is testing you that you have two options: failure and coming out as a champion. And I think the fact that Mark has a secret sauce to his success and is willing to share that with us is why we have him here today. Mark, thank you for joining us and creating kinder content. I cannot wait for my audience to learn the champion that you are. Can you introduce yourself to my audience in just 3 words that you reckon would define you the best?
Famous Test cricketer. Oh, no, that's what I wanted to be.
All 3. That's nice. It. You don't have any more words left.
I think I definitely try and be humble, grateful, and decent.
Decent. You'd like to expand on that?
Yeah, well, sometimes somebody said to me once, the problem with decent people is they expect everybody else to revert to decency. From my perspective, I don't know, just someone that really wants to be remembered well by people, have made a good contribution to them, and hopes other people would like to treat them in the same way. So I think that's probably the core of my feeling around decency is just, human. And actually just extending that last word a little bit, it was probably one of the nicest pieces of feedback that I got when I first started drafting my book was somebody said, your writing's just so human. And I couldn't have thought of a way that somebody could describe what I was doing better than to say human. And so I think I see humans as inherently decent, and that's the sort of person I'd like to be.
That's good. That's good glasses to wear. Yeah, I wear pink-colored, rose-colored glasses. So I'm probably going to get to that stage. No, but are any of these words, like you said, one of the decency comes off, from just how you perceive everybody around you. But any of the words given that you've chosen for yourself, are these words that remind you of someone from your childhood, or is there something that someone's hoped that you would become, or are these just, a part of your inner work and you've established these to be who you are?
Oh, I think it's always a bit hard to tell, isn't it? Nature and nurture. I would say that a lot of them come from my father. So I have traits, I think, also like creativity and curiosity that comes from my mother. But I think the majority of those traits probably come from my father, but also the people at work that I really respected, the people in sporting teams I really respected. I would say that they're the virtues that I gained from them. And I think probably I feel, I played a lot of field hockey. I was better at field hockey than I was at cricket. And I think that team spirit you get in that sport, and the people that are then older than you in those teams and teaching you how to, play, how to behave, how to get the best out of yourselves and others. They had those sort of values. And I think I always liked the idea of being a leader, and the leaders had those sort of values.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great thing that you bring up, because we not only have the adversity, but we also have sport in common. I used to play tennis, and I think when you're sporting, or I mean, even if it's an individual sport or like a group sport, I think sport builds character. And so I think, like, from the means, of course, like, I would probably want everybody to put their kids into sport, boy or girl. But I think it was one of the kindest things parents can do for their children or the community around, where you can learn these things of just being humble and decent and giving, and not compare successes the result or the scoreboard, but just basically how you take a team together and how you conduct yourself, right? Like, I think sports is
Yeah,
just,
and we do measure ourselves by the results. You
yeah.
know, like I'll remember the
Yeah, but they're a
premierships that I won
byproduct, right?
and the teams. You know, we do remember those things,
Yeah.
but on a game to game basis, on a play to play basis, we're actually trying to push ourselves to be better. And actually, a good opponent makes us better. It helps us become better. And how do we elevate what we do and how we behave and our outcomes is really our primary focus. We can't control other things. And whether that be in rehab or whether that be in sport, that's what we try and do.
Lovely. Right. Now, so jumping on to the kindness space and what it could mean for you, do you remember a experience, because I'm sure with the decency and the kindness and the humbleness that you've had a few, and you have three beautiful children and an amazing Lucy. So I'm sure life has been kind, but what is the one experience of kindness that you think was the most impactful, and it's something that it made you feel a certain way, and so now every time you walk around you aspire to make somebody else feel that way?
Uh, yeah, not sure I know one. I'll say a couple of things.
You have to
I had
find one
a
though. Start with one.
I had a grandma and an auntie that were both just so loving and always said love and always, just so generous and kind. I think on my father's side, they were quite incredible. My Auntie Joyce, I loved my hugs from my Auntie Joyce when I was young. And if I just went more recently and sort of, I guess, therefore, what had a real impact on me post my injury, I had one example where the nurses in hospital are really busy, and on the 7th, 8th day post my operation, I had a 5-hour operation to put some big rods down my back to stabilize my spine, and I was pretty beat up. And then I got some news I really didn't want to hear that basically suggested I was much, much worse off than I expected, and I didn't have very high expectations. So I was pretty shocked and really devastated. And just the nurse that somehow sat with me for, I say it was 20 minutes, maybe it was 2. I don't know how long it actually was. It was more than 2, but it just was long enough to show really extreme care, to sit and talk to me and just change my perspectives on that situation. And, I was really trying to, I was definitely on the verge of, breaking down in tears, but I was trying to hide that. But she'd treated me for enough days. I think she just could tell that I was not right. And she pressed and made sure she got to the bottom of why I wasn't right and then turned it around. And I just think, that's just someone that's, worldwide, we have the same issues. Nurses are not paid enough for the amount of care and the brilliant job that they do. That's extremely busy, but could just see that this was a person that needed her full attention at this point in time.
Yeah.
And I think that was enormously powerful for me. Would I have still turned myself around in 20 minutes or half an hour or 2 hours after her leaving if she hadn't taken that care? Maybe. But it was so much more powerful for her to arrest it quite quickly at that point in time and help me reset my perspectives, realize that if I really was that bad, then the help that I was now going to get because I was that bad, bad's the wrong word, have that many challenges, that I was going to get the appropriate help. That was actually good news, not bad news.
Yeah. No, I think that is, it actually does speak to me as well, because I think it's, like you said, I think the biggest gift we can give someone is our time, because it's the investment we make in someone. And I think it's with kindness, just for her to take that time out, not that she's paid for it, but her time out to sort of build you up when you just couldn't build yourself up, I think is one of the kindest acts that someone can pull off. So thank you for sharing that. And I really appreciate, and it does resonate with me, because I remember those days, and I remember words that people said, or just company where breathing was impossible, right? And just knowing that someone is there, that's it. That, it just turns things around. So yeah, that's brilliant, and I'm so grateful that you've had this. So I think from your own experience, and I think can tell obviously that you're a fairly positive person and you work a lot towards that. Do you reckon kindness then can affect someone's own well-being and happiness? To someone who is not only receiving kindness, but also someone who is giving kindness, do you think it also helps them? Like, is it a good act to follow?
Yes, and I would say that they build off each other. So, kindness that's both extended and then received positively actually has a higher value than just kindness that's given. Now, that doesn't mean that we just don't give kindness because it's not being well received, because you never know when it's going to start to pay itself back. And I think that's a really important element of kindness, is it's something that we need to give without any conditions. We need to give it knowing it may not be received yet, but we need to give it with all our heart as if it's going to be received amazingly well, because it'll only have its full power when we do that. So, yeah, absolutely. I think it's good for you to give it. It's great to receive it. And it's at its most powerful when it's, I guess, embraced. There's this sort of reaching in and reaching out mechanism to the help and to the kindness. Oh, well, I think compliments are just awesome, right? So just saying, you look great today, or, I love the way
Was
you
that a
put that.
compliment? Because I have to.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Thank
look
you.
much better than me. I
Thank you.
didn't even
No, I
check
think
whether
you look great. I think you look
we're
great.
actually going to have the tape, the cover here. I didn't even put on a good t-shirt. I've got my old cycling t-shirt on. I'm sure my wife actually, why she didn't throw out my my cycling cruise t-shirt on me. She's kind. Anyway, I love the way you said that. Any sort of small encouragements, I think, that really shows that that we've listened well to what the other person said and we're building on it. Just those kind acts all the time, just to notice things and to to reward them, I guess. Reward the things we like seeing. What's the expression? Treat someone like they would like to be treated. So think about, what do they value? Can I say something about things I know that they value and make them feel good about themselves?
Yeah, no, I think, and Lucy is not obviously on the podcast today, but if you can just go around and give her a hug, because I think, like you said, like she's kept the shirt, which, by the way, but I think if I think about it, for an act of kindness from her end, where she recognizes that cycling is probably something you're aspiring to get back to, but throwing away your shirt, which has given you such good memories, as opposed to keeping it so that you can wear this on a podcast and feel great about. I think it's so beautiful, because it's easier throwing things away than actually.
Well, I've got a whole drawer worth of cycling kit that one day I'll probably throw away, because I don't think I'm getting back out there. It's certainly Lucy and my daughter Imogen, and we got 3 children total, but those two I think are the strongest that don't want me to ride again. But we're ridden a little bit on the bike paths, which is nice too. Just simple stuff's quite nice. It was so important to me, and you need those things. I think, come back to the comment we've talked a little bit about before. When you have a situation like you had, major disruption to your life due to injury. Lots of people have difficult things to go through, but when your life suddenly changes so dramatically quite quickly, and you get that disconnection from your previous sense of self, it can be quite disturbing and quite, take a lot of support to get through, and kindness from people, is just a tremendous way to help navigate that.
Yeah, but before we actually move on to our next question, I'd like to share with you that my doctor said that I'd never be able to bike because of the tailbone, and work is happening. I'm still not there, but I'm just letting you know that I've started in my exercise routine sitting on a cushion and biking, because they want me to sort of not be scared here and experience it. So you'll probably get there. Don't give up. You're probably getting there. Okay, so don't say never.
Skiing is probably of the things I really love doing pre-injury. Skiing's probably the one that I've got on the list now, that I'll go at some point. I'll work towards doing that again.
Yeah.
Cycling I have done, as I said, just on the mountain bike, on the bike paths. But I don't know that I'll go back out on the road with the guys, just because I can't use my left foot properly and things like that. But you never know. Never say never. I like never say never. That works for me.
Yeah, right. And what role do you think kindness plays in fostering, say, a sense of connection or a community in this increasingly interconnected yet very interpersonal world that we're living in, especially the younger generation? What would your advice be for them?
Oh, and it's an incredible question, really, because
Thank you.
we are an incredibly global society, and got
Yeah.
technology that helps, FaceTime, so many things that helps us connect, but actually, in some ways, that makes us a bit lazier
Mm-hmm.
to properly connect and to really just invest that a little bit more preparation thought into this call with somebody, and what's how can I really make this connection valuable. And there's no doubt in my mind that I got through my spinal cord injury, journey. Obviously, it's permanent, so it's a journey forever. But I've got through it to this point. I got through those worst parts at the start because of connections, because of the people that reached out to me, because of thinking about connections to things that were important to me, to memories that would help me tackle my situation. So I think connections are enormously valuable. Please, all listeners, really value your connections as much as possible. Invest in them. Try and do that without conditions as much as possible. And as I said, just do that preparation. Think about, who am I talking to? What can I remember about our last phone call? How can I really make sure that they realize that I listened on the last phone call? I'm really showing my age now. I'm 50, guys. Text message, whatever medium you're using, just where were we up to? How do I make sure I'm building off where we were last?
That is beautiful. I hope all of them are listening and following. Now I'm going to quickly jump into what is going to be our next segment, where they're going to be quicker answers. And so you're going to have to, like you can't think too long, and you'll have to give me as like answers that are like super rapid. Okay, I don't want to call it the rapid fire round because I think it's overdone, but just questions on kindness. Ready?
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Are you braced? Okay, great. Okay. Do you have a go-to kindness quote or a motto that inspires you?
Go-to motto around kindness. No, I don't.
Okay,
Give.
do you want to
Just give.
just give? That's okay.
Just
We'll
give.
just quote
Be
unquote
kind.
this Mark Berridge.
No, okay. I'm going to come up. I don't have a motto. I'm going to come up with one. It matters. My motto is it matters. If you want something about kindness, it matters.
I love that. I love that. Right. And if kindness was, say, a color, what color would you think
Well,
it
blue's
would
my
be,
favorite
and
color,
why?
so it's blue. It's blue. That's my
Just because
favorite
it's your
color.
favorite. Okay. All right. Cool. And if it was a sound, if kindness was a sound, what sound would it make and why?
Door opening. The sound of a door opening, because
I love that.
kindness opens things.
I like that. It's also one of our most unique answers on the series. So thank you for that. Is
Better than blue?
kindness, well, blue is winning. We're very close. There are a couple of colors. Everybody says blue is my favorite color. I love blue, and then they're like, I don't think anybody's picking blue, but people are. Well, we'll summarize this towards the end of the series. But I think the door opening is very unique. So thank you for that.
Good.
If it was a food item, what would it be and why?
Oh, don't know. Maybe I'm just going to go Italian, because there's something so family and communal about good pasta. Homemade pasta's probably got real special significance to me personally. Let's go with pasta.
Okay, if I get into details, is there a specific type? Like, do you have a shape or gnocchi or
spaghetti. I like really angel hair spaghetti. Like thin spaghetti is my fave.
All right, great. Now my next question is, if kindness was a superpower, what would be its special ability? You have to think faster.
Patience. I'm going to go patience.
Is that enough? Is that for me, or did you actually?
Good point. Good.
I got it.
Well, exactly. So it's such a good answer on a few different levels. No, because just give it time. Like, you never know when that kindness is going to pay off, when you're going to need it, to remember that you received it, to give it. So yeah, just let it mature. Give it patience. Don't expect immediate results from it, and just keep giving. It matters.
We're going to go back to that, right? Would you rather have the ability to make people instantly burst into laughter, or instantly feel loved and cared for?
As much as I love the former, it has to be the latter. It's so much more powerful.
And do you have any special tippings on how someone who is just getting onto this kindness bandwagon could do something like to make someone instantly feel loved and cared for?
I think it typically is the smallest things, isn't it? You see someone struggling with a up a set of stairs or something, you might grab their bag and help them, or it is just tiny. Someone looks lost, and how often do we walk past the person on the street that looks lost rather than actually, and perhaps even more so with the disruption of COVID the last few years, you sort of almost it's created a bit more distance. So yeah, I think just the small things, always the small things. Love doesn't need to be the big word. It doesn't need to be the daunting word we often bring it up to be. Love is so universal, and it should be anything that's about treating people with kindness.
Well, thank you. And your last question for now is, if you could create a national holiday dedicated to kindness, what would you call it, and what would you want people to do? This is an international holiday, by the way, so you're responsible for this one. I like the seriousness that you're gripping this question. I love it.
Well, it's probably controversial. I'm going to go with Princess Di Day, because I think she's someone that did, despite everything that she went through, just tried to do kindness, I think, for others all the time. And maybe it was part of her coping mechanism for all the pressures and everything she was under. But I just think we don't need to be perfect. We just need to care for others. And I think she's someone that tried to do that and tried to make a real difference to a lot of lives. So if Mother Teresa, there's probably lots of people that have done similar things, but maybe let's call it Princess Di Day.
Right. And what are people doing on this day?
Sorry, the two parts of the question. Doing small acts of kindness, trying to make a difference. How do I do something today that makes someone's day and might make a difference tomorrow?
Okay, so since you're leading this, and if I were to nudge you into the direction of a bit more specificity, would it be start with a hug like your grandmom hugged you? Like everybody's hugging everyone? Do you think that would work?
No, because there's a few people who'll be running for the hills if we had that. Because it did go through my mind. I thought, no, that's not going to work.
All right.
What can we do to everyone? Looking them in the eye in a really friendly way.
Right. That's doable. Yeah, I think that's also very conscientious of the spaces for personal boundaries. Love that. All right. And I'm obviously extremely conscious of the fact that you have made your time on your daughter's birthday and been here with me. So thank you for that exchange. And I'm very conscious of this positive energy that you're sending towards me. And I don't want to make you feel depleted before I go. So how would you like for me to pour back in? You could probably ask me a question back, or anything that you'd like for me to help you pour back into this exchange, so that I'm also sending you back away feeling better. Yeah,
I feel better already. The energy, and I've been kept on my edge for shorter answers and more powerful. I guess I'd say it's earlier in your day than mine, 4.5 hours difference. So we've worked out now because I stuffed up the time difference. What one thing are you going to do in the rest of today to make a difference to kindness in the world, other than having recorded this amazing podcast?
Oh, wow. I thought this was it, actually. No. No, I think I think, like you said, I think it's a bunch of, I think it's honestly like the little things. Like kindness to me is, of course, like the little things that matter. And I have like a team that we work in. And so every day, like you said, I'm probably not perfect because I'm also in rehab and healing, but everybody's got their own challenges. And so as a team, we consciously take our time to sit down with each other and try and understand the emotional aspect of being able to put work forward, or not being able to deliver something, or where someone could probably need more help from the team, and just be honest with each other, because we're all young kids in this office, and I know that a lot of them want to balance their personal lives, go out on dates, and take time off, not feeling it in the moment, or just not having slept well, or whatever the reasons could be. So I think consciously, for the rest of the day, I would probably be working towards something that we do every day, is just being honest to each other about, hey, I don't feel like work, or hey, can I leave early because I have a date planned? I just don't want anyone to lie, because I think honesty is also one of the kindest things that we can do to each other, instead of rattling each other's mind over what is the excuse that will work with this one.
Yeah, and creating that safe space where we are, do feel honest. That's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
In in May, I did a joy diary for the first time, and I loved that. That was a great experience, and it was amazing. I suppose I did it because of one specific discussion with one lady, and who's like 76, adopted me as another son, which was lovely. And I ended up sharing it maybe with 10 people, and it surprised me how much by sharing my joy, which was really about pride in my own achievements and sort of and wonderful experiences I'd had, actually how much joy that created for other people. And I never actually quite imagined the way, joy can cascade, and kindness is exactly the same. If you do something kind for someone, they feel better. They're doing something kind for someone else. Definitely cascades. It definitely does.
And I think to be able to sort of just be kind enough to recognize that everybody has the human basic right to be 100% selves at all points. It could be joyous, it could be in pain, but just know that they're not alone. I think I appreciate that a lot more since after my injury. I think you'll probably resonate with the nurse not leaving you alone as well. Just knowing that we've got this, but if we have support, I think it's great. Yeah.
Knowing that support's around, great. And I think also mentally just realizing that there's other stories of other people that are going through tough things, being able to visualize other people managing their own challenges and hearing about them, that helps us not feel alone mentally, as well as you say, people actually taking action to help you, remind you you're not alone. Both things are powerful.
Great. This is great. Did you have fun?
I had a great time.
Great.
Maybe you could leave your listeners with one last thing that came up from that joy diary experience. Was somebody else told me about an exercise weekly of doing highs, lows, and in the US they do buffaloes. So highs, talk about one high thing that's happened this week, talk about low, one challenge you've had, and then the buffaloes are supposed to be something random that's happened. So
can you give us an
example?
Example?
A bit random. Oh, you could see, if I was taking my day, a high was I went down at lunchtime to watch a lady who's just cycled all the way around Australia. So I think she's 60-ish, grandmother.
Brilliant.
So for 93 consecutive days, she's been cycling around Australia, 14,200 kilometers or something. That's pretty amazing. So I think just seeing someone having achieved that would be a real high. And then the buffalo example out of that would be, and I'm supposed to be on a radio interview next week, and just by chance, the two interviewers that are supposed to interview me happened to be there about to interview her. So I just had a 5-minute chat to them beforehand. So we sort of almost got a little pre-chat in, which I think will make next week's interview even more powerful. So a bit of a random thing that sort of just came out of me deciding to go see this incredible event. And I don't think I had a real low today. So anyway.
Well, we'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah, let's keep it that way. It's my daughter's 20th birthday, so we don't want to have any lows today.
Yeah, so life has given you a return gift. Go get her some gifts. Your return gift is you have a 0 low day today.
My low was as simple as the train traffic lights taking forever to change, and I was a little bit frustrated.
That's a permanent
in the 10 minutes.
low.
That's my low. That's a lot. That's my low. See, it was nothing. It was nothing. See. All right.
Thank you so much, Mark.